What's good, everybody? RJ Shelton here back with another episode of Off the Top Show. I got my good brother James Muenchow, aka Jimmer. This is the BD Boys episode. Let's go ahead and get right into it here. Our Green Bay Packers went ahead and tied against the Dallas Cowboys. We are 2-1-1. This feels like a loss. It should feel like a loss. We got a bye coming up, but let's talk about this game right here against the Cowboys. Man. But go ahead and talk to me
Jesus,
about this one, Jimmer.
Jesus. It was, it started off really good. Started off 13-0, and you were like, man, this is just gonna be, looks like it's just gonna be a blowout. Cowboys can't do anything on offense. Green Bay's doing relatively what they want to on offense, and they look good on defense. And then what turned the tides of the game? What do you know? For the past how many fucking years, a special teams play that changes the point of the game, and I'll die on that hill. It was in the second. I think it was in the second quarter, maybe even the end of the first quarter. Doesn't matter. That changed the complexity of the game because there's no juice in that building. AT&T Stadium was dead, except for the Packer fans that were there, and Green Bay had complete and total control of the game. And then that play happened, and that gave Dallas a spark, and it changed everything. Then they went on to score 14 unanswered. It was 16-3 or 16-13. Then apparently defense just was optional that game for both teams. Not a very good game from the secondary. Secondary had no player. Keyshawn Nixon had the best day, and he gave up a quarterback rating of 78. Everybody else was higher. That's not good, by the way. If you were wondering, that's not good that the lowest was 78. Nate Hobbs did not look good, and he was the second big free agent signing of this offseason. Carrington Valentine gave up a perfect passer rating, so we don't really need to talk about him. And Xavier McKinney didn't look good. Javon Bullard didn't really look good. I mean, the person who had the best day was Quay Walker. Quay Walker had a great game. Edgerrin Cooper had his worst game as a Packer in his second year. So, I mean, a small sample size, I guess, but he looked like a superstar earlier. He had a bad game. Hopefully, this isn't a trend for him. Devontae Wyatt going down was probably the biggest hit and probably the biggest reason why Green Bay's defense wasn't effective. Micah Parsons has come out and said, like, Devontae Wyatt's super underrated, and this guy's a dog. Well, he went down, and inside presence for the defensive line was just not there. Micah Parsons had a sack, but it took him to overtime to get it. Dallas did a really good job this game of getting the ball out quick, so that neutralizes any pass rushers, just getting the ball out of your hands quick. Sean Gary, Lucas Van Ness, same thing. Very, basically ineffective. No stats really for them. Silver linings, I guess, if you really want to look at it. Romeo Doubs had 3 touchdowns. Jordan Love looked really good. And Josh Jacobs, they made sure they got him the ball in what seemed to be different ways. I mean, they ran a lot of screens with him, and they got him involved in the passing game, and run game looked fine. So those are things to look at. But man, this Green Bay offensive line is beat up, and this Green Bay offensive line is getting beat a lot. They lost. That's why they're not winning. They haven't won these past 2 games, is that they haven't won the line of scrimmage. And they weren't winning the line of scrimmage on defense either. Parsons was making some really good moves, but again, he was there half a second late just because they got the ball out quick. So not a good game. It does feel like a loss. I agree with Matt LaFleur's assessment on that. But you were fortunate enough to where it doesn't count as a loss, doesn't count as a win, but ties in the NFL usually go towards your favor if you're good, because then it's just one loss off the books. It's kind of a devil's advocate. So we'll see what direction it goes to, because again, ties are really interesting in the NFL when it comes to playoff standings. I do expect this team to be a playoff team. I mean, they definitely have the symptoms of a playoff team, but good thing they started this slide and now they have a bye. So now everybody can stop. Let's self-assess after these first 4 weeks, what's working, what's not working, what do we need to improve on. And then you got 3 relatively, again, simple opponents that you should beat. You should. I mean, it's the NFL, guy. Teams can lose any given Sunday. even the best ones, but these are teams that you should at least go to, if anything. Like that worst, you should go to them. So let's just be happy that it happened now. And somebody said this, and I don't know who, but I kind of starting to agree with it. This is Matt LaFleur's 7th year in the NFL, and I think he was his 7th year. He's been here for 7 years. Geez, time flies. He coaches like a coward, and I kind of agree with that. Like he in his first year with Green Bay in week 6 or 7 against the Las Vegas Raiders, he had the all gas, no brakes. That was the only time he ever did that. Like, other than that, he is very conservative. I think him and I's opinion on when to be aggressive and conservative is, and the damn dog. We never usually have problems with on this podcast with dogs, but apparently today we're gonna have issues. So quiet down. We're doing a podcast. He's not well versed yet. We'll get him strapped in shape. But it's like every time, in my opinion, this is just my opinion. So if you disagree with me, you're more power to you. But every time it's like, okay, maybe he should be conservative here. He gets aggressive. And then every time he gets aggressive, you go, no, not the time to do this. I don't think it's the right time to do this. And once again, special teams kind of didn't lose you the game, but in hindsight, it was a 3-point swing and you tied. So I don't know. It was a very weird game in general because ties are weird, but it was 40-40. Like that's a big tie. So it's really strange. But I mean, guys on the offense stepped up big time when you had to. They got the ball second in overtime, and that's basically like it's a do or die situation, which I think we're going to start seeing a lot of teams with this new overtime rule where each team gets the ball now, no matter what happens. I think you're going to see a lot of teams take the ball second when they lose or when they win the toss, because you saw it with the Chiefs in the Super Bowl against the 49ers how many years ago, that Dallas went down and scored. I mean, even if they scored a touchdown, then you have to go score points. And in the NFL, when you know you have 4 certain plays, like if the punter's not coming on, it's really, I think, easy to go and get 3 yards of play. So again, it's the NFL, but I think you're going to start seeing guys take the ball second, which I agreed with Green Bay taking the ball second, because if you get a stop, all you need is 3 then, because you're getting the ball second. So first time seeing the overtime rule for Green Bay in this new format, but it's just not a good defensive game, unfortunately, when the defense has usually been the heavy lifting portion side of the ball, where the offense has looked good at times, but then other times it's like, well, they did enough to win because the defense was so good. And then last week, obviously, they did not do enough to win, and special teams once again had a catastrophic blunder. So you got to see what LaFleur does, because now you have the week to reassess, self-assess through these first month of the season, and then you got three relatively not hard opponents where you should go at least 2-1. I don't think we should panic yet, although now we're getting back to the special teams portion where it's like, okay, special teams is on the field, everybody hold your breath and pray that nothing bad. I think Jordan Love's playing really good football so far this year, I think, but that offensive line is their weakness right now, which I thought it was going to be a strength, but apparently it's a weakness. And so we'll see. You just hope it progresses and gets better to protect Jordan Love, because Jordan Love kind of has some happy feet in the pocket right now because he's not getting protected. So we'll see. I am optimistic, as I always am, because we've seen what this team can do. Micah Parsons, again, is playing more and more during the game, where I don't even think he's in shape yet. Like, wait till Micah Parsons gets in shape. Like, he didn't do anything all fall because he was holding out with the Cowboys until they got traded. So once Micah Parsons gets in shape, in game shape, and you hope Devontae Wyatt is fine, because again, he's a big piece of that defense on the interior. It's just not a good game for the defense all around. Offensive line played okay. Josh Jacobs, huge game. Jordan Love, huge game. Romeo Doubs, huge game. Hopefully, maybe Christian Watson comes back here. Now that's another weapon for Jordan Love. Jaden Reed's still going to be out for another month and a half. You know, unfortunately, you're going to be a little bit shorthanded, but hopefully, you guys are going to be doing just fine. But I think the bye week came at the right time because they started slipping. I think those 2 wins against Detroit and Dallas, or Detroit and Washington, they started feeling themselves a little bit. And now all of a sudden, you just dropped 2 games against one opponent who you should have beat. The other opponent you probably should have beat as well, but 2 special teams there cost you games. So we'll see. I don't know what's going to change, but you just hope the minds that be do something that changes, because right now they started to slip, but hopefully everybody resets and you can come back. You can play Cincinnati. Cincinnati's bad. Like, that is the worst football team. I understand it's because they don't have Joe Burrow. Even with Joe Burrow, they're a little suspect, and they are just a really bad football team. That should be a game where you get right, get your confidence back up. But we'll talk more about that in 2 weeks, maybe. I don't know when we're reconvening with this bye week, but whenever we talk about it, we'll talk about it. It should be a relatively easy win for Green Bay, considering it is that.
Yeah, no, we should definitely get that one taken care of. It's tough to go ahead and see what we saw this past weekend, but it is what it is. NFL football is NFL football. Just hopefully, like you said, reevaluate and get better. Let's move on over to the Badgers. They go ahead and face Michigan in the Big House. This is already kind of a downhill situation for our Badgers here. Starting safety is out this game. Edwards Jr., who was the starter that was from Maryland, he's not playing. So then Danny O'Neal is going to go ahead and be the one to be the starter in the Big House.
Boy.
So now you're going in. We know what O'Neal's about. We know how kind of iffy he is when it comes to playing the quarterback position. You have your basically best player, or one of your best players on the defensive end in the safety position, and kind of controlling the secondary. That's going to be a problem. I don't even know what the favorite is for Michigan to win this game. It's probably like 14.5, me not even looking. But you're going to the Big House. It's up more. What is it, 20?
17.5. I checked it today. It might, and you know what? I guarantee people are going to be hammering Michigan, so it's probably going to go up because they got to try to give Wisconsin more points. At one point, I thought I heard somebody say it was 8, like when it came out, I think last week, because again, Wisconsin had, but that would have, I mean, even 17.5, you looked at what Maryland did to them in Camp Randall, and now you're going on the road to one of the biggest college football stadiums, and you've played in it. It is not quiet in there. And for a struggling team who doesn't seem to have any sort of confidence whatsoever, good luck. That's all I'm saying. Like, again, this Badger football team has no confidence, doesn't seem to be believing in what they're doing. I don't know if Luke Fickell's losing the locker room on this, but this is just not. This is a done deal. Michigan's probably going to win, cover the spread probably. In my opinion, the over-under is 43. Michigan might score that by themselves. Good luck. At the beginning of the season, I thought they were going to be a bowl. I thought they could be a bowl-eligible team, but good fucking God, was I wrong. Like, hand up right here. Wrong-o. This team is bad. I get it. They are not good. So good luck to them for the rest of the way. But and they have one of the toughest schedules in college football. It's not going to get any easier. Good luck. Because, holy Lord, have mercy. So, again, I just think Luke Fickell's got an upward hill because fans are going to get impatient. And Wisconsin, I don't even know what the mind of Wisconsin is going to be, like, as a football board. You kind of got Barry Alvarez's take on it, where he just thinks that UW fans are spoiled, which I thought was hilarious. Which kind of shows you, like, if he was still athletic director, he'd have patience, and he picked his predecessor. So you would hope that they have kind of the same mindset. So, but again, I just don't think there's anybody out there better for this job than Luke Fickell. Like, people are like, oh, go get Jim Leonard. It's deeper now. Like, college football is not just recruiting anymore. It's not just saying, hey, come to Wisconsin because we're Wisconsin. Because the second question is, how much you get paying me? And guys are going to go to lesser programs for more money. Like, it's just how it is. and then they'll get their money for a year and they'll transfer. So it's not recruiting by name anymore. It's recruiting by dollars, dollar bills, y'all. So again, Wisconsin's going to have to learn that at some point because again, reports are coming out. They're still not spending a whole lot of money. So Wisconsin's going to have to learn that at some point and start opening up the checkbook. But for now, they're not a good football team. They don't look like they're confident in what they're doing. Luke Fickell kind of looks like he's lost the locker room a little bit. And they're going to Michigan, which it's not the national champions, Michigan, but it's on the road. And all of those things we just talked about, Michigan's probably going to win by like 24. So it's not going to be good. Let's just say that. So again, it's not going to get any easier. So good luck to them. That might be the team of the year to bet against is the Wisconsin Badgers. So if you like making investments in football games, Wisconsin might be your team to go against. I think I saw their points over under points for this game was 12.5. I honestly thought about the over because I'm like, if it's bad in college football, 14 points is manageable, but what do I know? So 17.5 is your spread. I think Michigan's going to cover that easily, but because this is just a bad Wisconsin team. This might be over before the first half, before halftime. So we'll see. Weirder things have happened in college football, and this is why we play the game. But if it was my money on the line, we're going blue, and I don't like going blue, but the red side is just no bueno, senor. So good luck to them, but 17.5, I think that's getting covered easily.
Yeah, I ain't got really nothing but that, man. God bless them. Let's move on over to the Milwaukee Brewers. We got this one that we can go ahead and be fired up about. They went ahead and conquered that 1 seed. We talked about how the importance of having this team being in a 5-game instead of a 3-game. We got it. Whew. Talk to me, Jimmer. We're here. October baseball.
By the skin of our teeth, we got that 1 seed. It took waited till the last day to do it, but we did it. And now you wait for the fate of who you're going to play. Game 3 tomorrow, Cubs versus Padres. Winner take all. The Cubs went out and took that energy from game 1. Went out and won, I think it was 5-1 on Monday, or on Tuesday, and then today the Padres came out and quieted the crowd with a 3-0 shutout. So the question is, who would you rather face? I kind of want to, it would be really, really, there's a devil's advocate, 2 heads of the coin. What I'm about to say is I would really love the Cubs because just ending their season would just be just delicious. I'll even have seconds on it.
Absolutely.
Give me some dessert. But the possibility of them ending your season, nausea, never going to live it down. Craig Counsell coming in. So I don't know. If it is the Padres, it would probably sting a little less. It would still sting, but it would sting a little less. Their payroll's huge. Padres seem to have Milwaukee's number more than Milwaukee having San Diego's number lately. So maybe you want Chicago, but I don't want Chicago because then Chicago fans come up to American Family Field. So that's why I'm the other way. I'm leaning towards San Diego because it becomes more of a home game for the Cubs or a neutral site than a true Brewers home game. So I'm going to be rooting for San Diego tomorrow just because I think that's less Chicago winning is less juice for the Brewers, and home crowds in playoff baseball are so huge. It's crazy. But I think game 1, which is Saturday, is going to be Freddie Peralta. I don't think there's any questions. I think we talked about it last week. And then game 2 is going to be Quentin Priester. And then you got a question mark in game 3. Jacob Mizorowski has not been pitching well. I think you're probably going to go Brandon Woodruff because you want to go experience on the mound. Because I'm pretty sure I'm not sure on the playoff format for baseball. I'm not sure if they do the first 3 at home and then the last 2 on the road, or if they do 2-2-1. I apologize. RJ, look that up for me. Let's get that settled. But if it is game 3,
let's see.
If it is game 3 on the road, I think you go Brandon Woodruff. I think you go Brandon Woodruff regardless. I think game 3 is going to be Woodruff, and then you kind of play it by ear for game 4. But again, people were kind of having a panic attack because the Brewers were not playing well down the stretch. You and I kind of talked about that. It is really difficult to, I mean, you're playing for the 1 seed, but you still were clinched in the playoffs and going to be at least the 2 seed. It's kind of hard to get motivated for that, but I think you saw on the last day that there was a sense of urgency, and then they conquered that best record in baseball, period. So now the World Series runs through Milwaukee if they were to get there, which is huge. So I think there's your first 3. You got to worry about the first 3 because if you win the first 3, you're done. I think this week that they're going to have off is a good reset. I don't know about you, but with me playing sports, if I ever had time off, I remember a couple times doing a couple different sports where I at least had a week. If I was hurt, I was chomping at the bit to get back, and played some of the best games being first game back. So I think also with this team getting rest for a week, and then you get in front of the home crowd, they've been here before. I think these guys, most of them have been here before. I think these guys are going to be chomping at the bit, and I think whoever they play, you got to go out and win game 1, set the tone for the series, because there's a possibility that you don't even have to leave Milwaukee. You can win 3 straight and just, all right, let's stay here and wait for either Philadelphia, Los Angeles. It looks like it's going to be Los Angeles, Philadelphia, or Los Angeles, because Los Angeles is beating the piss out of the Reds. Whoever wins the series between Philadelphia and Los Angeles to come to Milwaukee. You might not have to leave Milwaukee for 2.5 weeks. So, but it's huge in game 1 to set the tone. Again, I think your first 3 starters are going to be Peralta, Priester, Woodruff. And then if there is a game 4, do you go Jose Quintana? He's been in a lot of big playoff games. Do you go Jacob Mizorowski? Do you just try to see if Miz goes out there in a big game and pitches lights out? Or do you go bullpen game? Who knows? And then by the time you get to game 5, I think you either revamp it probably with Peralta. I think he'll have enough time in between games that he'll be able to go for a game 5 if possible. But I think this is a really good for the Brewers to sit, reset, get your mind right, because you were kind of chasing that 1 seed, but at the same time it was like it looked a little lackadaisical, or looked like a lot of pressure was, they want to win, but it's like, it's tough to say. But you really, really want, I think this is a really good break to kind of everybody get healthy, everybody reset, come out on Saturday. Crowd's going to be loud. If it is San Diego, it's going to be loud. If it's Chicago, it's going to be annoying, because Chicago fans love to infiltrate Milwaukee because they can't afford their own ticket prices, so they just come here. But we looked at ticket prices, a little expensive. So we'll be sitting on the couch or the patio watching some great October baseball, because I honestly think October baseball is very underrated, because a lot of people don't watch baseball. I think playoff baseball is a gift every year. But we get to go to 5 games right away, which, again, I said, really helps the Brewers. You got Mr. Reliable, Freddie Peralta, probably starting game 1, and it's a really good chance for them to come out and set the tone on game 1, where the Padres or the Cubs maybe get a little shell shocked, and you can just hopefully win this damn thing in Milwaukee, and then just wait for whoever shows up. So the Brewers are going to be, I'm so excited. I was excited last year, but then we were heartbroken. But I'm ready to get hurt again, my brother. I'm ready to get hurt again.
With you. To answer your, obviously with the format, so it's a 2-2-1 format with the home field advantage going to the higher seed.
Then definitely going game 3, Brandon Woodruff, because it's on the road. Woodruff's pitched on the road in the playoffs before. It's not even a question. Priester, I think you go game 2, because I don't think he's ever pitched in the playoffs, but he's been your second best pitcher this year, second most consistent pitcher. And being at home with a lively crowd probably feels a lot easier and a lot less stressful than being on the road. But he might have to pitch on the road at some point, but we'll see how Pat Murphy manages that. But I would say Quinn Priester game 2.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
Okay.
let's do it, man.
Yeah.
Let's. Oh my God, let's do it.
I'm so
That's all I'm
excited.
gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's gonna be great.
Let's just do it.
It's gonna be great.
And last
It's
but
gonna be
not
great.
least, here, my beautiful people. Before we go, for the people that did endure the Ryder Cup last weekend, you want to just talk about a up and down roller coaster on Sunday, and then Friday and Saturday. We're like, are we even on this golf course right now? But Saturday was one of the most unreal, like Team USA fighting to come back with everything they possibly could do. And I'm just sitting there like, wow, this is crazy. Talk to me about it.
Yeah. So I'm actually like, besides the overall dominance of Team Europe, because it really was like, thank God for the singles matches where it made it look a little closer than what it actually was. I was really actually kind of disappointed in this Ryder Cup for a couple of reasons. One being how Bethpage Black was set up as. This course was super easy. And I'm not just saying that because Europe played well. Like, there were birdies being made by both teams, and when you have to birdie a hole, trade birdies to tie holes, it's a little much, in my opinion. Like, you got to have some holes that is just like, okay, if you make birdie on this hole, you should win. There was times where you're like, oh, you made a birdie, congrats. Well, guess what? The other team is going to make a birdie as well. The course was really soft. You could see Keegan Bradley's visual frustration on how soft the greens were, to where there was no penalty really anywhere on the golf course except for maybe some bunkers. Like, there was guys spinning balls out of the rough, and like, if you usually in golf, there was, I think the biggest thing was I forget who had what player it was, but they had a 215-yard shot out of the rough. That should be dead. That should be, I'm taking this club and I'm just going to hit the crap out of it, and it's probably going to get to the front or like 20 to 30 yards in front of the green. Then I'll have to go up and down. These guys were getting everything on the club and able to spin everything out of the rough. And actually, you kind of saw sometimes where being in the rough actually helped players because they couldn't spin it as much. And that was the biggest problem with all players, was spin control. Guys were ripping balls back 30 feet, because the greens were just so soft. So it was very disappointing because it was kind of ironic. And if you follow along the Ryder Cup beforehand, or the hype up to it, you saw a sign right before they walked out: only experienced players, please play these tees. Like, only experienced and good players, which is ironic because they destroyed that golf course. Like, they destroyed that golf course.
Yes, they did.
So I was really disappointed about that. Yes, don't get me wrong. In a Ryder Cup, you should have at least one hole to maybe two holes where it's a par 4 and a guy could go for it. Like a guy like Bryson or Rory can go for it on the green. Sure, make it fun, but this course just played really easy. And I think it was a little too easy for everybody. Even though Team USA didn't play well, the problem came from Team USA not making putts. They didn't make any putts. Like, they had their opportunities, but also, again, they had putts for birdie to tie holes. It wasn't putts for birdie to win holes. And Europe played really well the first 2 days. Like, it was to the point where I'm like, do we even need to watch Sunday? It's like, your number one player in the world. I felt so bad for him because everybody who he was partnered up with was dog shit. Like, didn't matter who you put him with, they played bad. So, unfortunately, except for JJ Spawn, but he got matched up against Scotty Scheffler got matched up against some really tough teams, and he just didn't play well himself. He would have told you, I didn't play well either. But then you got to Sunday, and I kind of watched it, and then I had some things to do, so I was following along on my phone. I was just like, oh my God. We saw the miracle at Medina when the Europeans came back from what seemed like an insurmountable lead. This was damn near impossible, like mission impossible, and the Americans damn near pulled it off. If they would have won that, that would have been the greatest comeback in sports history. Like, done. We're not even going to talk. We're not even like, there's no argument on what is the greatest comeback in sports history. That would have been it. Because I don't think, again, people still don't know how hard it is to win a Ryder Cup. And not only that, to win a Ryder Cup when you're like 8 to 9 points down. I think the Americans got a little screwed with a write-in rule, which for people at home, basically what happened, a guy on Team Europe was hurt, and in the singles match, he basically said, I'm too hurt to play. And knowing that, before the week came in, that he wasn't 100%, each team gets to write one name in an envelope. And they said, we're going to invoke our envelope rule. And then they pull out the names. These players aren't playing. They're going to tie the match automatically without even picking up a tee, without even pulling out a club. And so Europe got a free half a point already being way ahead before anybody even hit a ball on Sunday. And when you're Team Europe, a half a point, every half a point counts because you have such a huge lead. So I thought that was bullshit. I think that rule is stupid. I feel like if somebody isn't able to play because of injury, too bad, so goddamn sad. Either have an alternate for somebody who could play, or you just forfeit the match. So I thought I didn't like that either. And then the final thing, I think Keegan Bradley kind of, I don't know if he felt the pressure. I wish he would have felt the pressure more, but I think he stayed too calm in the moment after day one. Because on day one, he sent out Colin Morikawa and Harris English, and analytically, they were the worst American pairing in the history of the Ryder Cup. Out of 132 possible pairings from past Ryder Cups, they were the worst. And what did he do? In the second match in day two, he sent out the same damn pairing against Tommy Fleetwood and Rory McIlroy, who are Tommy Fleetwood was the hottest golfer coming into this tournament, and Rory McIlroy in a Ryder Cup just is just so hard to beat. So he sent them out there, and guess what? They got dog walked. And so you're just asking, what are you doing? Like, they both should have been sat for the rest of the tournament because, again, Colin Morikawa won his, I'm pretty sure he won his singles match, yes. But he wasn't playing like stellar golf to begin with coming into this tournament. He was a real big weapon in the Ryder Cup when it was in Whistling Straits, but he's just fallen off since then. I don't think JJ Spawn was used enough because I think he played really well. And then Sam Burns played like dog shit. He was bad. Colin Morikawa was bad. Harris English was bad. Everybody else was like pretty much okay, but okay wasn't going to win you the Ryder Cup. And then Bryson played really well. Unfortunately, he just he ran into some buzzsaws, like things where you're just like, you just can't do anything about that. He had a really statistically a good week. But again, some of the newer guys like Cam Young played fantastic. JJ Spawn, I think for his first Ryder Cup, did really well. So I think you have something there for future Ryder Cups for captain's picks because I don't see JJ Spawn and Cam Young. I mean, Cam Young could because he's one of the best putters in the world, but I don't see a guy like JJ Spawn being in the top 6 every year like he was this year. He played really well this year. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll be in the 12 to 6 range every year and he'll get captain's pick. But that's really good for JJ Spawn because, again, if he came out and kind of laid a dud, you saw it with Brian Harman 2 years ago, won the Open, automatic qualifier, and went to Rome, and he absolutely shit the bed. I mean, he wasn't the only American to do it, but he didn't get picked this year. So what does that say? And he was number 12. There's other guys like Patrick Cantlay, who is usually really good in Ryder Cups, was average. So, again, it was America looking outclassed by the Europeans. Not even like just getting beat. They just looked like Europe was just in a different class than them. Like they were just outmatched and outclassed. But the Americans gave up a fight and gave them a really big scare on Sunday, and it was really fun to watch. But now you're going to Northern Ireland in 2 years, and that might be a problem because I don't see this European team really changing the core of it. You got two of the guys that are from Northern Ireland, Shane Lowry, and actually, I think just Rory's from Northern Ireland. Shane Lowry, technically Ireland, whatever. It's all the same to them when it comes to like the Ryder Cup. So you're going to go there, and again, as Rory McIlroy did say, and I don't think he's wrong, it is one of the hardest things to do in sports to go on the road and win a Ryder Cup. So I don't see anybody. I don't see the team of Europe really changing. The core of it, you might sprinkle in some newcomers. The Americans just got to improve. I mean, if you looked at who was on the Ryder Cup team in Whistling Straits compared to this Ryder Cup, I mean, even in Rome, really, it's so different. It is, and there's a couple factors on why it's different. You know, Live Golf played a big factor in it for sure, but some guys just fell off, plain and simple, whether it being from Live Golf or just in general. Like Colin Morikawa, when he went to Whistling Straits, was the third ranked player in the world. I don't even know if he's in the top 20. He might be, but he was top 5 in the world the last in Whistling Straits 4 years ago. So we'll see. 2 years is a long time, but 2 years time from around this time, we'll be talking about them in Northern Ireland, and hopefully they can bring it back. But you got to go through a process of who's going to be the captain. I don't know who's going to be the captain. It's definitely not going to be Tiger Woods because I don't think Tiger Woods is going to waste a Ryder Cup captaincy on the road. I think he's going to want to be in America if that were to happen. So we'll see. But it was an ass kicking for a lot of people this weekend, the Brewers included. The Badgers couldn't get their ass kicked because they had a bye, but the Brewers did lock up the number 1 seed, so that kind of helped the weekend, and the Packers tying a game which they probably shouldn't have won, but they definitely started off hot and it was like, oh, we're not going to lose this game. So rough weekend for sports, but we're about to turn it around, except for those Wisconsin Badgers. They're going to get their ass kicked. But Brewers playoff on Saturday. Hopefully they come out and get a game 1 dub and start off this weekend and start off this series really hot. So maybe we can get a sweep. I don't think they will because if they get a sweep, brother, you want to see excited. I'm going to be excited if they sweep whoever they play. So, but we'll see. Hopefully this weekend treats us better than last weekend.
You heard it there, everyone. You guys have a good day. We'll see you sooner rather than later. You have a good weekend whenever you hear it. We'll see you later. Peace out, everybody.